All right. And once our error middleware is able to handle our database errors, now let's take a look at how we can check for both errors in the controller as well. And I'm talking about the register controller, of course. First, it will make our API less error prone. And second, in some cases, checking for specific error in the controller before it hits the error middleware is actually quite useful. And it's my personal preference to utilize error checking in the controller somewhat irregularly. Lastly, in the process, we'll also take a look at how we can set up custom error class. So let's get cracking by first navigating back to the auth controller, and let's try to remember where the values are located. So they're located in the reg.body, correct? So here's what I can do. I can just check for name, email, and password. So I can pull them out. So name, email, comma, and password. And now we'll set that one equal to a reg.body. So we pull out the values. And now what we can do, we can check for empty values. We can just say here, if name is not provided, or if email is not provided, or if the password is not provided, correct? So if one of them is missing, what can we do? Well, remember, since we're using the package, the express async errors package, instead of going next and then passing in some kind of error, what we need to do is go with throw new, and for time being, we'll just rely on JavaScript error class. And again, if you want to double check that, just go back to the README and let's click over here. Let's navigate to their docs. And once you get there, as a refresher, remember, instead of going with next, we need to go with throw and error. And then we pass in the error message. Again, this is coming from the JavaScript, and I'll probably mention that 20,000 times in the following videos. So we go with new error, and let's pass the message. Let's say, please provide all values, like so. Then it also kind of makes sense that if we change this around, correct? Where instead of just passing in everything that we're getting from reg.body, I'll specifically say that I want to pass in name, email, and password, like so. Let's save it. And before we can go any further, what we also need to do is go to the error handler. And now let's log specifically the message property, because I want to showcase something. So instead of logging the entire object, I'm going to go with error and message. Now, if you're wondering, how do I know that such message property exists? Well, because we're using built-in JavaScript error constructor. And if we take a look at the MDN docs, we can see that it accepts a message as an argument. And just to demonstrate that, I created a straight up vanilla JS code where I create an error object by invoking the error constructor, and I pass in the message. And once I log error.message, I get back the same value. Now, if you're wondering which extension am I using to showcase the result straight up in my text editor, the extension name is QOQ.js. Now, you don't have to buy a paid version. Essentially, there's a free version and a paid one. And as far as my use cases, I find the free version to be sufficient enough. So now let's head back to the Postman. And again, let's remove the name. That probably is going to be the easiest. So let's send it here. And I'm getting back to 500. And I still have something went wrong. So I do have the generic one, but let's take a look at the console. And console over here says, please provide all the values. Now, where is this coming from? From here, because this is the message that we pass in. So the first thing that we can do in order to set this up as 400, and then the actual message that we're passing in is in the error handler by setting up here the OR operator. So like I said, in the beginning, it kind of looked useless, correct? Setting up this object, the default error. However, as we're adding more code, this looks very useful, correct? And now what I can do is say, okay, if in the error that is being passed to this middleware, if there is already a message, then use that one. However, if there isn't one, then just go with generic one. So the way that's going to look like, we're going to go with error. Again, this is this error over here. Then let's go with dot message. And if it's present, then we'll go over here. And if not, then we'll just go generic one. And remember, when it comes to the Mongoose ones, we're overriding that anyway. So don't think about it too much. So let's go back over here. Let's send it. And voila, I still have 500. We'll fix that one in the following video. But now at least our message is custom. And what we're doing right now in the controller, we're actually checking for the values ourselves, which again, from time to time can be very useful.